Yeah,
Okay.
hi.
Hi. Wow, you're keeping
Hi.
a mask on. Nice to
Well,
meet you.
yeah, might as well. But at the moment, I'm only seeing half of a picture. Oh, no. Okay. Here we
Okay.
go. Okay. Okay.
Bonjour.
Hi. Isn't it too much of a mess? Is it too much of a mess?
No, it looks great. It looks great.
It's my studio and there's everything here like it's complete mess.
Wow. Is that in which part of London are you?
North London, Holloway.
Holloway. Ah, okay. I
Do you know
know
where Holloway is?
I know Archway. I used to have a girlfriend in Archway, so
Right. So I'm between, yeah, I'm underneath Archway. I'm between Highbury and Archway, I guess.
okay.
Yeah. But you're Scottish.
Yeah, I was born in Paisley. I don't know if you've been to Glasgow.
I have sung in Glasgow.
Really?
Yeah, when I
Oh,
was at the record company, we had a tour in December in England, and I think Glasgow was probably my worst gig ever in my life.
oh wow. Really? Where did you play? Do you remember where you
Oh
played?
no, I don't remember, and it wasn't a big tour, and I don't remember Glasgow itself. I just remember that gig. I mean, it wasn't highly promoted. Some of the gigs were okay on the tour,
Hmm.
but this was like, I just remember my image of it was like at the end of the gig, the cleaner cleaning the floor. You have to understand, at the time, it was not like now. I mean, at the time, a French singer was not like really welcome in England. I mean, for example, in Birmingham, I can't remember on the tour, there were hecklers saying, get off the stage, French slut. I mean, people don't understand that now, but at the time, it was quite something.
In the 90s, do you mean, or 80s
Oh,
or
that was in the 80s.
80s? Wow. Okay,
Yeah,
because when I was in Glasgow in the 80s, I would just not go to school and go and see French movies, you know?
eh, no, but in general, in England, I don't mean just in Glasgow, I mean, I'm still the only French solo female singer that was signed to a British label.
Wow.
Because all the French stuff you hear, unless it's people's own little labels, is actually imported from France.
Uh-huh.
So, and before, Piaf, Aznavour, or whatever, obviously they were in France, they were not here. Things got imported and they still get imported. But I'm really the only one that moved here and got signed to a label. And it was really like Joan of Arc. It was really like, it was really like that. Like they wanted to burn me, and,
Wow.
and they did. And the big thing about Joan of Arc is that she's supposed to be a pucelle, she's supposed to be a virgin. But the
Okay.
thing is that yeah, that's the thing because she was she heard the voice of God, so she was this kind of
I
saint.
like Mary, yeah, I like this Mary thing.
And the whole thing about it is that they discovered later on that she slept with one man and that he was English.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's kind of fun. So anyway, here we are. Lovely to
Yeah,
meet you. So you can see me properly, you can hear me
not
properly.
really. It's okay. You look great. The mask is great. What have you got in your what have you got in your hand?
Oh, it's just in case,
Ah, it's
It's
protection, is it?
it's a measured stick. It's just to point out if there's anything to point out. Sometimes I
Okay,
use it in my salon when I point out to art.
right.
But it's nice to meet you here.
Yeah, you too. We were talking quite a few times over the years, and I had a few things going, but
Oh, you
I'm
have to
so
remind
happy.
me because I've had a bit of a kind of mental shock, so I forgot a lot of stuff.
Oh,
So
really?
I remember the old stuff, but I
Uh-huh.
don't remember so much.
Okay, so then let's start. So you went to school in Paris, right?
Yes, yes, yes. I am a Parisian. Yes.
Wow. And what is your earliest memory of that then? Do you remember?
Well, yeah. I mean, you know, uh, most of my life in Paris, I grew up in council flats, and the first one was behind Montmartre.
Okay.
So my mother used to push the pram in the gardens of the church of the Sacré-Cœur. So
No way.
that's kind of that's the first stuff.
So you
I
remember
was
this view, and I'm sure it wasn't like it is now. I was there a few weeks ago, and it's
Ah,
hot. It's just full of people.
but it's
And
always full of tourists.
right, okay, but yeah, it just seems like it was quite hard to even see the structure of the church.
Right.
And I
But did
remember
you go in the church?
the walk back down was beautiful, but it's quite a steep walk up there, right?
Yeah, and you have the little telepheric, you have the little thing,
Ah,
how do you call it in English? The little thing. Instead of taking a tube, you take that little bubble that go up.
oh, really?
Uh,
I didn't
from
see that.
over. Yeah, maybe you didn't see it. I mean, there's different ways to go to it, and so of course, Montmartre is just above a little bit on the east is above
Hmm.
Pigalle, and basically
Yeah.
Montmartre and Pigalle where all the cabaret started. So I grew up, I grew up in that space. It must have gone inside of me,
Whoa.
because yeah, and I didn't obviously at the time I didn't know the history, and even until fairly recently, I studied and discovered all the history of cabaret in Pigalle because I mean, if you want to get into the thick of it, are you ready to get into the
Yeah,
thick of
go
it?
ahead. Yeah.
Because really, that's why it all started. 1881,
Hmm.
right, was the first cabaret in the world, and it was called Le Chat Noir.
Okay.
And basically, it was a very radical cabaret, started by some sort of black sheep, Swiss black sheep from an aristocratic Swiss family, and he was after being some kind of arms dealer. He didn't know what to do. He was walking through Pigalle,
Hmm.
and he saw a black cat, and then he said he saw a building, and he said, "Okay, I'm going to start this cabaret," and it was very, very radical. So at the beginning, it wasn't so much about music. He was reciting his erotic poetry in ancient French, and a
Wow.
lot of different type of people went there, and it lasted for a really long time, and it had different venues around the same district. And basically, after that, all the artists, musicians, painters, everybody went there, there from Satie to Picasso to anybody you can think of. But originally, it was a cabaret is a place where people have a drink.
Hmm.
And if you want to go even into the thickest of it, um, they were making alcohol in Montmartre, the monks,
Right.
and they still do. They still have gardens around Montmartre where they make the alcohol. And Montmartre was outside of Paris at one point. And the
Hmm.
king of Paris at one point said, well, we want us to be part of Paris. And so they made a deal where the monks were allowed to sell their alcohol for cheap in Pigalle, in Montmartre. And they got annexed to Paris. So that's why and how cabaret started, because the alcohol was cheap,
Right.
because
It
the
was
monks were.
inclusive, not just for the elite people. It was for everyone, right?
Oh no, yeah, 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 sure. But the cabaret itself did not allow clergymen. They didn't allow the clergy,
Good.
and did not allow the police.
Good.
You know,
Great.
it was
That's
very political. It
yeah,
was
that's what
very,
you don't
very,
want.
very radical, very political, and everything. All the movements, surrealists, Dadaists, everything comes from that.
Hmm.
And after that, the Situationists and punk comes from that. And actually, before he died, Malcolm McLaren made a film, which only been shown in London once, which is Paris, capital of the 21st century,
Hmm.
and which is about, he pretended he found these films about cabaret in the street, right? I mean, whatever the bullshit is. But the whole point is that he was the only one who knew all that culture. And
What was
so
his
he
name?
used that.
Director? Sorry.
No, 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 no. Malcolm McLaren, who
Oh,
used
Malcolm. Right. Okay. Yeah.
yes,
Of course. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, he lived in Paris in May '68. I mean, he was always in Paris, and he's the only one who knew the culture of radical art and radical cabaret, and
Hmm.
so that was kind of the start of the artistic revolution, and a lot of stuff comes from that. So,
Right.
even when they don't know that and they don't even
I
want to
didn't. It's
know
great.
about it, no, very few
It's,
people know about it. But, eventually
it's
we all come
fascinating,
out.
right?
Maybe it's there. Maybe it's fascinating because the safety pin, for example, was in art, came in 1917. It was used twice, once by Duchamp and once by Man Ray.
Wow.
So he did a lot of that stuff, and it's no. surprised because punk at the time in England had a hard time. They didn't really want to know. So the Sex Pistols went to play in Paris in '76 at the Chalet du Lac, and that was probably their best gig. I was there. I'm not
Okay.
young chicken. I'm not young
W-
chicken. And I was
Wow.
there, and it was great. And it all you see all the best gigs of all the people, MC5, all the very revolutionary gigs. It's always best in Paris because we partly invented revolution, and so there is always a nugget of people who want to make things move.
Hmm.
So that's kind of so 1881. And to track and all these people, it was the hubbub of how modern art started, you know, and people have to know that and they have to understand because this is crucially important,
Yeah, I never knew because it's always like New York and London fight like the Ramones, the Pistols, but this is like
No, no,
50
this is,
years
and
later.
France obviously helped punk to establish itself because punk was the continuity of radical cabaret.
Yeah.
Dadaist situation is May 68. So a man who used to be like my kind of rock and roll uncle, set up the first punk festival, and it was in France. And I don't want to go on about it, but I think it's in this day and age where everything is so like samey and boring and
Mhm.
non taking no risk at all. It's
Yeah,
very important to remember when the last thing
exactly.
that and I'm just a French person on my own, but lately I've had a few deaths around me, so things have been a bit slow. But
Mm.
I want to see the next thing happen, and I
Well,
want
this
to
is
be
the
part
kids
of it.
now. They're all such. My son even is such a conformist.
How old
It
is your
makes me
son?
physically sick. But
I
he wants to fit in, and
I
he
know
wants to wear the same clothes as everyone else, and it's really distressing for me that there's nothing there. There's no punk thing there.
exactly,
Maybe there is.
exactly. So it's really important to go back,
Mhm.
to where it actually all started and the last movement, because it's from that the next movement will happen because we learn from that we were able to do it. We learned
Mhm.
that it was possible. We learned that it did exist. We learned that it wasn't all about being insecure and scared and
Right.
scared of doing something interesting that
Yeah, well,
makes you
someone
think.
like Duchamp, he actually still looks what he was doing is very contemporary and almost futuristic. And these ideas
Yeah.
people still can't handle. The idea of just put the context and the things like that.
Yeah, and people just copy things, but you have to do things your own way to talk to the new generations. And obviously, you can't be a stuckist. You can't
No.
live in the past. But it's important to know what happened and that it did happen. And people in the Anglo-Saxon cultures, they don't know that because Malcolm obviously didn't tell people where he took it from, even though the last film is about that. I
Hmm.
hope I can say that. Yeah, this is a bit my kind of school teacher kind of
Ah, yeah. Okay.
pattern.
You were never a teacher, but were you?
No, when I was a kid, I kind of wanted to be a teacher. I mean, my mother said, "Think about it. You have a lot of holidays and you get paid."
Mm.
But what I do is partly teaching through my knowledge, and
Of
because I
course.
do, I mean, obviously I do music, art, but I also do this salon where I talk about cabaret,
Mhm.
and so I do a lot of different things. I do tarot, I do films, so through my knowledge, because I'm a very curious person, I
Yeah.
hope to be giving it on,
Right,
but
right.
lately, it's been difficult to get something started because everybody's scared of saying anything.
It's crazy,
Uh,
right? Yeah. It's
how old
crazy.
is your
But
son?
pardon?
How old is your son?
He's 13. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Tricky. I'm trying to radicalize him, but it's impossible.
A sensitive age.
Yeah. So what do you remember when you were 13? What were you up
Well,
to?
yeah, I mean, 13, obviously adolescents, people want to start asserting themselves, and one is very perturbed, I mean, obviously the girls and the boys, that's like,
Yeah, yeah.
the thing. But But these days, I don't even think people are like, they're just, it's all about consumerism and because with the
Mhm.
internet, everybody's brainwashed. So you have to use internet very carefully because the kids, yeah, it
Yeah.
makes me sick too, but everything changes and it will change again because eventually
Yeah.
they will get bored. They will get bored eventually, it's sickly. So when I was 13, well, I had moved to another council flat. So I had moved to this other school, which was very kind of left wing,
Hmm.
lots of demos, lots of a few bad elements. And that was just I made some friends, which were important for me. And 15 was just around the corner. And so for me, 15-year-olds, I was going out to all the punk gigs, that was
Really?
it.
Can you remember your first gig or a gig that was
Well, I
meant
was
a lot to you?
already around 13, 14, I was seeing the Stones, the Who, David Bowie,
Bowie.
all
Wow.
that. But I don't know. And then, then it went to Eddie and the Hot Rods, and things like that, Tyler Gang and things like that, because that was Wilco Johnson.
Hmm.
That was the pub rock was kind of a little bit pre-punk. And because my rock and roll uncle was organizing these gigs,
Right.
my
What do you
first
remember
memory,
about seeing Bowie's the one that sticks out for me because I've never seen him, and I was
uh,
late on because I had an uncle that tried to get me into Bowie, and for a Scottish boy, it was a bit like, no, I'm not going to like that. It was too feminine for me. But now I love him so much, and actually the album that he done, Black Star, his
yeah.
last album was incredible piece of work that
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think.
it's great. It's good. It's more jazzy, but it's great. So my
Hmm.
first memory really from the punk thing that I met this guy, Mark
Hmm.
Zamati, and he had a label, the first independent label, the record shop in Paris. He released a lot of punk stuff. He was very, very ahead of his time. And so me and my girlfriend after school, we used to hang out there every day. It was so fun. All the bands, they all came here, they all rehearsed downstairs. He was very influential. Mark McLaren took a lot from him. And
Hmm.
so, of course, I wanted to go to the gigs. So the deal was that I was sticking the flyers on and I could get in the gigs for free.
Okay.
And that's how it all started. And that was a very, very, very exciting time. And it's not just because I was a teenager, it was just the air. The air was exciting. The air was acknowledging and happy that life was out there. At the
Yeah.
moment, life is not out there. You look at people in the streets and they're like zombies, they go on the phone or like
Yeah.
that, or and even, I don't even go to so many gigs anymore. I still go to art events because I cannot stand this zombiness, this state of zombiness.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
Even if it's a good gig, they all have the phones in the air, and it kind of spoils it for me. I seen
I
Patti
made
Smith recently,
right.
and the phone thing was quite annoying, but she was still worth seeing. She is amazing.
Mm, mm, mm.
Yeah, and yeah, so that
But for
was.
me, I love Patti Smith, at the beginning, Horses, the John Cale Times. I mean, after that, I went on to other things. But when I was a teenager, because of the people I knew in my school, I used to go to these parties from this very famous architect because I knew her son,
Mhm.
and Patti Smith was there. So she was always hanging with the rich people from the
Yeah,
beginning.
really.
She's a bit, I mean, for me, Horses is fantastic, but after
Yeah.
that, I'm not so keen.
But she has this William Blake and Roomba thing going on, which I like, and she always
Yeah, but she
she's
doesn't understand it. I mean, I'm
no.
sorry.
Well, I don't
She does.
understand. I would like to understand it better. I've read a lot of it, and what do you mean? I mean, it's
Well,
beautiful and it's about anarchism and freedom, but
yes, but that's the stuff I studied at school. And
okay,
Rimbaud and Baudelaire, which they call les poètes maudits, the doomed poet.
okay. Poet Maudit, the
They were
doomed poet.
very, like all great artists, contradictory. Because even though it was about anarchy, I mean, Baudelaire was a Christian, and quite affirmed Christian.
Hmm.
And that's really, really important because, he glorifies the dark like he glorifies the light. And that's really important. And that's something that Patti Smith does not understand. She only wants to park her limo at the back of the street, appear in the street in New York, and play, pretending she doesn't have a place to live, and that it doesn't wash. Also, the Rainbow House she bought in France, it's not the Rainbow House.
Oh
they,
wow.
they they took the Rainbow House and they put it there, so it's not even the real Rainbow House. So to me now she's become a bit of a poser. I'm sure a lot of people will hate me for saying that,
No, I
but I
love that you're
also
saying
know a
it.
lot
I
of
love it
people.
because
I also know a lot of people who agree with me. Oh, there's a so, right. So, art, music, all that, it's like, it's my life.
hmm yeah, yeah. So, so you were handing out the flyers, and then were you studying at that point, or were
Well, yeah, I was
you
going to school.
you were going to school and doing the flyers? Did you have a job, or did you? When was your first artistic paid work?
Oh, paid work, God knows. No, but I
Yeah.
had a girls' band.
You had a what?
A girls' band.
Okay, cool,
I
right?
was the
Really?
guitar player. Yeah, yeah, with my girlfriend. So one of my girlfriend, she was at school with me. So after school, we used to hang out in this shop in Les Halles, and we used to, rehearse and go to all the gigs. And, I mean, it was a lot of fun people, a lot of fun people, and a lot of fun time. So eventually we put a band together. We had this black girl drummer who ended up in an asylum. She was really nice. So Marilyn. We
Right.
had the girl from Venezuela who played the bass, and I played the guitar. I wasn't a
Okay.
singer at the time.
What were they called?
Klaxon flirt.
Cax and Flirt.
Klaxon flirt. I mean, we never did anything. We just rehearsed, hang around, had a lot of fun, but we never really did a gig, because we were. I mean, we went to school and then we were partying and having fun.
Okay.
So so at school I had this girls band, and then when school was finishing, and the singer wasn't really like serious about it,
hmm
and I had met so many people from the bands and English band, of course, because my friend was organizing a lot of them as well. And I met some of them, and I had a boyfriend. So at one of the concerts, I met a boyfriend who was
Okay.
in the thick of the punk thing, who organized the first Sex Pistols gig. So then I
Wow.
started to go to London a lot. So when I was a teenager, when I had big weekends, holidays. So I started to go to London a lot.
Just
And
flying?
again,
Would you fly or
oh no, at the time, it was the boat,
the boat and the
the
bus?
hovercraft or the boat.
Oh, nasty.
No, it was at the
It's fun.
time. It was exciting just to go there. So the first gig I saw in London was Iggy Pop at the Roundhouse.
Whoa, the roundhouse. Okay.
No, no, it was the Rambo, the place in Finsbury Park. Uh,
Okay. I don't know
the,
that, but wow,
where
you've
Bowie
seen
played.
Iggy Pop. Wow. I've seen
Yeah,
him
so
in the
that
Barrowlands and he's still he's great, right? He's
right,
great. He's
right.
for real.
Yeah, for sure, still is, but he's not
Yeah.
getting younger.
No, but he
And
looks
now,
great.
the thing is that now, a lot of people from the punk days, they accept to do things with younger people because they want to get in with the younger people's market. But some of it is not always fantastic. But I mean, Iggy Pop on stage is still great.
hmm
And he still makes good albums. So no one's perfect. But a lot of the punk people haven't really renewed themselves. So when I moved to England, I didn't want to do punk band. That wasn't interesting to me because I was sad because punk had finished. So I
Right.
was kind of sad. So I thought, what would Malcolm McLaren do, now? And so I thought I kind of looked back at my French roots, at the cabaret, at the chanson, and I took it from there. So that to the English was a shock.
Yeah.
Because they didn't don't like the French. They didn't like the French even less at the time. And so it was quite a struggle to find a label. It was a struggle to establish myself. I really had to grind my teeth and I really had to fight hard because I was heckled all the time, the
Whoa.
concerts in the streets. It was really, really, and now all the young French girls they come over and they have no idea. They have no idea that I was the one that really broke that.
Right.
So a lot of people don't know that, but it will all come out. It will all come
No,
out at one point
I seen a
because,
clip of you on the tube actually. You must have been
but
maybe 20 and you were looking very beautiful. And I think I might have seen it at the time when I was a kid. And it was
right,
really quite astounding that clip that do you know the one I'm talking about? Maybe
the tube,
yeah, you were on this program, The
yeah.
Tube, which was quite a good show.
Yeah, so that was the beginning at ZCT. So I must have been at 23, something like that.
Wow.
So that
Okay.
was, I mean, obviously ZCT got me some exposure, but at a cost, because it was a very bad recording contract. So
Wow.
eventually I had to leave because you can't be, taken advantage like that
Was that
forever. So it was
ZTT? Was
okay.
that
That was the
ZT?
album. That was the label, that was Trevor Horn's label.
Yeah. So
So
the art of noise and things like that.
Right. But I had done things before. It wasn't my first record. I worked with Michael Nyman before.
Mike, I
I
wanted
worked
to
with,
talk about Michael Nyman. I love I've got all his vinyl records here and I love his stuff. And
uh,
I
and
didn't
I
even
worked
know
with
that until
Adrian
yesterday that you worked
Sherwood.
with him.
Yeah, and I worked with Adrian Sherwood. I made some recordings with him. So I had done things before, but obviously they wanted all claims. But it was
Mhm.
okay. Of course it was okay because I had a recording contract, but it wasn't a fair deal. And so at the end I just left, and that's when I moved to the States.
Oh, really?
But yeah, and I lived in LA for 7 years.
Oh gosh.
And that's another story altogether. So I don't know if the 40 minutes will will be
No, we
enough.
can we can if you I'm really enjoying it. It's fascinating and we can keep going. But yeah, just
Yeah,
keep
but I
like
think we only allowed 40 minutes.
no, I just set it up again and I'd like to see you
Oh,
with your
well,
mask off as well.
okay.
But that's up to
Okay.
you. So
Oh, it's just
you
that. Oh, yeah, go on.
no, it's just so you got on the tube and I think I remember seeing you and I see how people well the English are small-minded anyway, you know. I can see why you would get a hard time and
Yeah, I mean now it's a bit different, obviously, because London is much more European. But oh gosh, but I didn't mind. It's fine.
Mhm.
I know how to deal with a heckler now.
Oh, really? What do you do?
Well, yeah, when you're young and people start to insult you and you're on stage and it's your first outing, you're supposed to be quite shy. But I was a punk.
Hmm.
They all seem to forget that. All of them, the business, my friends. So I don't easily let people walk on my feet.
Hmm.
But that was a training. I mean, that was a training for sure. And then America, I wanted to do this film project, this music film project.
Hmm.
And so I hooked up with Donald Cammell, who was the writer and co-director of Performance with Mick Jagger.
Oh shit, really?
And
Well.
yeah, and he kept saying to everybody in LA that I was a genius. And we
Hmm.
started to work on it, but at the time, you couldn't make a film on your iPhone. So we were looking for a producer. And then, he supposedly committed suicide, so that was
Really?
the end of that, you
Oh, you
know.
think they
And
killed him? That usually means someone killed him.
well, there are many theories about that, but the official one is that he committed suicide. And
Mhm.
I was gigging all the time. The thing is that there's in LA in America when I lived there, the thing was still to play live. So I was gigging all the time with the best musicians, Leonard Cohen musicians, Johnny Hooker musicians. I had 3 bands. I had a fabulous time. So I was gigging, working on these songs,
Okay.
but not really looking to be part of the music industry, more looking to do this kind of film project, which never happened. But with all these songs, I finally made the album Extase. So there is a not, after the whole ZTT thing, there are a lot of things. Because when I came back to London, I did a lot of experimental work, poetry. So I've released albums of poetry, and I released this very well produced album, Extase,
Extase.
which
What is
I
in English? What is that? Extase?
ecstasy.
Ecstasy. Okay.
But
Yeah.
it's not about the drug. It's
Uh-huh.
about the
The
seven
state of mind.
ecstasies yeah. It's about the seven ecstasies of Mary Magdalene.
Oh wow. Really?
Yeah, yeah, it's about because it's about my journey, my 7 years journey. So the 7 years journey in 10 songs, and that was supposed to be the soundtrack of the film I would have made with you know my friend, who passed away.
Right, but
The
can you explain the
Donald
seven
Cameron.
ecstasies of Mary Magdalene? What is that?
Well, so Mary Magdalene and the two other Marys are supposed to have by boat gone, from the scene of the death of the Christ to
Mhm.
Sainte Marie de la Mer.
Yeah, that's
Like,
true. In a cave, they went up to a cave, right? I know this story. Yeah.
so they went to France, they went to
Mhm.
Sainte Marie de la Mer, and a bit later on, they found Mary Magdalene in Marseille. She apparently converted the king of Marseille to Catholicism, and then she retired in a cave near Marseille, where
Yeah.
she had
Have you been there?
seven.
I would love to go there.
Yes, I have been.
Isn't
Yes.
wow. I've heard it's quite tricky to find.
Well, it is just there's a lot of steps, and even I took
Mhm.
my parents there, but they had a bit of difficulty, but we made it. There's a lot
Wow.
of stairs, and yes, so these seven ecstatic moments per day, and at that point, I was really interested in the ecstasy, not through drugs,
Hmm.
but more through spiritual,
Yeah, like yoga or some meditation, you can get
Well,
there.
yeah,
Yeah.
just the idea of, well, I guess the idea of happiness, but
Hmm.
which is not controlled by drugs, which is not
Yeah.
naturally infused. So it's about, again, this album is very Baudelarian because it's about the dark and the light, and how you get to the light. So,
Mm.
I could go on and on and on about this. I had a grandmother who was a nun as well in the
Your
south of
mother was a
France.
nun. Oh, wow.
A grandmother, yeah. Yeah, so,
Wow.
but, it's a long story. So I'm quite interested in spirituality as well.
Hmm.
And so yeah, so that's the album that was supposed to be the soundtrack to the film, but since the film didn't happen, the album at least happened.
Right, okay.
It's a great album. I produced it myself, and I'm very pleased
Is
with
it
the
is it
people.
available on vinyl? I'm going to try and find it on vinyl because I'm a vinyl
It's
freak.
only on my website. It's only on my
Oh, I'll check it
website.
out. Okay.
And people like Glenn Matlock play on it.
Oh,
So
wow.
there's a connection. So there was a connection there. I mean, it's not a punk album by no means.
Hmm.
But Glenn likes people like Jacques Brel and stuff. So it's
Yeah.
not, it wasn't out of his reach, and also he played even better than I thought he would. So it was a great honor, and I wrote all the songs, I produced it myself, and I'm very happy because I recorded it 3 times, and the last one I did it here, and I'm very happy with the result.
Okay.
So. So there's been a lot. And while I was doing the poetry, I started the art as well. So photography, painting,
Yeah.
everything in
I
that
love the
way.
paintings as well. So you spent 10 years in LA and then you went back to
7
London.
years in LA. 7 years in LA, the seven ecstasies.
Yeah, I still don't understand the seven ecstasies. That might take like 7 hours to explain, maybe, but I've got
Well, look,
7 hours.
well, it was just what Mary Magdalene did. She had, like, nuns or something, that they retreat
Hmm.
and they have these spiritual ecstasies, these connections to God.
Is it like a
So,
path to enlightenment? Something like that? No?
yeah, yeah. But she happened to have seven a day,
Seven a
you know,
day.
seven ecstasies a day, not sexuals, not
Like orgasms.
drug induced. But the whole point is that I also wanted to play on the idea because I also come from the club scene. So I wanted to
Mhm.
play on this idea of what is ecstasy, and so I wrote it a slightly different way as well between the English and the French, and so that's kind of I wanted to debate this as an album. I mean, I don't call it intellectual, but obviously there is an element of thinking and yeah, and
Mm.
I'm very happy with the result. And some people think actually the production is better than Trevor Horn because it's
Okay.
less produced,
Okay, there's more
better on
more
my
space.
voice.
Okay.
More space for my voice. And so, yeah, I'm very happy with it. Unfortunately, what happened is that I had lots of things planned, like tours in Australia, and, I was starting to promote it. And unfortunately, COVID happened.
Okay. Yeah.
So that kind of put an end to that.
All right. What did you think of that? Did you get vaccinated?
Of course not.
No, me neither. And I still get a hard time about it. But I didn't.
Yeah.
I was
I'm still
lucky I was
alive.
here. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Crazy, right?
mean, I guess, it affected people who didn't have a good health,
Hmm.
that as well, and I've always been in fairly good health.
Yeah.
So I think, it's not black and white, but no, I didn't take the vaccine.
Yeah.
And
Well done.
so, since COVID, I've been
Yeah,
re-evaluating
it's a
every
struggle
year.
since then. But for artists, like I don't know, but I have always been on the edge, and now it feels like I'm off the edge now because.
I know, but we have to turn that around. We have to turn
Hmm.
it around. I mean, I've done a few multimedia thing and everything, and I mean, my next project is going to be about music and film.
Hmm.
But the world needs a shake-up. Maybe I can't do it, but I wanna be part of it.
Yeah.
And the stuff I see around. I mean, honestly, it's
No, people
not
are ready
acceptable.
to go offline, and they're beginning to realize it. So I mean, even today, the Zionist Gestapo, they faked us. Did you see what happened this morning? There's some bullshit about him trying to get killed again. The Adolf, what's his name? Adolf Trump.
Right, right, right. They're all
And
crazy.
you
I
didn't
mean,
see it. They had another
no, no,
fake
no, no.
attempt on his life. Well, I'm calling it fake, and then I get called conspiracy theory, but it's obviously staged.
Right,
These attempts, I think.
right. But it's all crazy. The world is run by lunatics,
Yeah.
and everybody's scared.
Well, you don't know
It
what's
creates.
real and what's fake anymore. It's great. Even if I go
I
to buy
know,
my
I
son
know.
some shoes, he wants these shoes that are like 300 euros. But then, then you buy them and then they're fake and it's crazy. You don't,
It's
everything's,
really crazy. It's really crazy. It's like we have to come back to some basics. I mean, surrealism is great, but not coupled with stupidity.
uh-huh. Yeah.
The whole point is this movement since Le Chanois is that they were radical and they were not preaching stupidity. It
It's the
was
ones
about
that are saying they're the clever ones. They're the ones you have to be careful about, I think.
so it's kind of there is a kind of thinking's got completely mad,
Yeah. Would you mind doing
completely.
another 40 minutes? Because that's
Okay,
40
all
minutes.
right, okay.
No, there's
You
two
send
more
me
minutes.
another link?
Yeah, I would love to continue. And that was so fast for me. I didn't really, I
I
just
know
love,
it's true. It's true.
I love
It's true.
listening to your life story. Maybe in the next 40 we can continue because
Okay.
yeah, I didn't even get to ask you about Paris and how you ended up in London. And
You
yeah,
did a bit.
we should
Okay.
do
Are you going to send me another link?
that's how it works. We can just keep talking for another minute and then it'll cut and then I'll just
Okay.
send you the link again. The exact same way. You look great, but
Okay.
will you take your mask off now? You won't take it off.
Oh, I don't know. I feel a bit tired. Maybe I should put another one on.
But okay, yeah, okay. Wow,
I put another one on.
yeah, yeah.
How about How about that one? I mean, you know what I look like. There's plenty of
Hey,
pictures of. How about that
okay.
one?
That's a bit more like a funeral. Like
Yeah, like a black
oh,
widow. Like a black
okay.
widow. You can
Ah,
have
that's good.
one
That's good. If you lift one veil up, at least we can see you a little bit. There you
one
go.
layer or two layers.
That looks great. That's perfect. And then we'll just restart in about 2 minutes. So I'll just have
Okay.
to email you the link.
Anyway, it's nice to meet you. And how's the weather in Marbella?
It's I'm in Mallorca, which is a
Oh, I
strange
mean,
place.
Mallorca.
Mallorca, have you been there?
No.
No, it's quite touristic, but it's beautiful nature and the sea, and it's yeah, I'm going to go and swim in the sea, so that's why I'm here.
How big is it?
There is like, well, it's not we can drive across in 1 hour,
Right.
so it's not so big, but it's
I've
not.
been to Spain.
Yeah.
I've been to Barcelona. I've been a lot to Barcelona, but
Hmm.
I played in Barcelona. and that was my best gig ever.
Right. It's a
Like,
similar culture here.